Real talk for the bold, bruised, and built to last. Welcome to the Built This Way podcast with Patricia Mullen.
Oh my gosh, you don't know anything about today because the first episode probably won't air unless it's a blooper because shit just kept messing up. And anyways, welcome back to whichever part of your day that you just basically allowed me to help violate. And today's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about SEO. And don't cringe and go, oh my God, I want to talk about marketing. Someone just did that to me the other day. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This show is about everything else but. And sometimes I need to throw it in. And I have this really awesome partner. His name's Michael Little. He's with me today. It's the guy you can hear kind of laughing. This cute little cat in the background. I love black cats. Owner of Odin Media, which just the name of the All-Father made me go, who is this man? And then we were in a similar training program, or in the same training program together, and we can talk about that too. But we have these really just real talk conversations about one of the most important things y'all need if you have a business and a website, just saying. And it's a hot point for me. I get a little triggered if you can't tell because people don't generally understand it or their need or why. So I invited today the most perfect person to learn a little bit about it and just not get bored with it because he's cool as shit. He's got a really amazing accent because he's from the UK and he's a trusted friend gangsta of mine. So welcome, Michael Little with Odin Media. What's up?
Yeah, good. I mean, although it's Odin Agency now, I did rebrand it.
I didn't realize I did that.
No, it's all good.
Oh, you kept giggling? You could have just stopped me.
No, that's funny. It's funny because obviously it was Odin Media for so long. I still use the same email address just because I haven't switched it across. Yeah, of course.
Odin Agency. I mean, yeah. And you, welcome. By the way, Michael Little with Odin Agency.
Yeah.
One of my peeps. Yeah. Thank you. What time is it where you're at?
It's 6 p.m. now, so it's not too late.
Oh my gosh. And you've got kids and you're in the middle of a move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, house move. Yeah. Boxes everywhere.
I appreciate the time. It is about noon my time.
Yeah, thanks for kind of adjusting.
I did not. I'm actually super thankful that today happened because the first episode we thought we're going to be so awesome and we're going to put 2 episodes in one day and literally everything technology was just not working this morning. So maybe it was not meant to be, but we rescheduled her for next week and It was great practice for maybe me, I don't know, but it was just a weird morning, so this is a lot better because
yeah, it's all matched up now, so it's working, right? So
people are going to go, why do we want to talk about SEO? You guys, first of all, let's talk about why you would want to go into SEO. Because I could talk about SEO all day long. I could. And you probably could, but most people can't. So let's get into that. Like, what are you doing and why did you start your business?
I guess originally, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do when I left school. Like, had no idea. I started as a carpenter originally. Did it for 9 months and realized it was very much not for me. And then
a lot of people I'm only laughing because so many people have started and they're not doing what they thought they're going to do. A lot of carpenters.
Yeah, so both my brothers are carpenters, so I guess that was kind of, and my dad was as well, so that was kind of, I guess, the reason why I started doing that. But yeah, it was very much not something I enjoyed doing. And then I started doing website development and like playing with code because I've always been like quite sort of geeky, nerdy, computery. And then when I was kind of just looking for jobs in the area and stuff, I emailed a company who were looking for a designer rather than a developer. They didn't really do any of the coding stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, that sounds good. So then I basically said, yeah, okay, I can come in and do that. So I went in on a trial period for like 2 days. And then at the end of the week, they were like, can you come back in for another day? I was like, yeah, fine. I'm off this week anyway with my current job, which was just working in a supermarket. And then they offered me a full-time job. I was like, oh, brilliant. So I kind of just joined there, and kind of learned how to do all the designing side of things as well, which was really cool. I was working with big brand Schwarzkopf, the hair product company.
Yeah.
So that was yeah, I was literally
Heard of
doing
that?
that, and
Bought that.
then I ended up basically pulling in all of the development for the websites, which were built in a German content management system. And I was just like, the manager who was above me at the company, he was like, do you reckon you could figure it out? So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll have a look at it, and then worked out how to kind of worked it out, and and then we basically took that entire chunk of business, and then had a little one on the way with my first partner, and basically asked for more money because I was like really low on the wage front, and they said no. So then I handed in my notice, and then yeah, and then because I was kind of doing some stuff on the side anyway, and then so I asked for more money. They said no, and then I was like, right, okay, well, I'm leaving, and then they were like, maybe we should have paid this guy more money because he's the only guy that knows how to do any of the technical stuff. So,
I'm like, oh,
so then they were basically paying me a freelancer rate, which was a lot higher than what they were currently paying me. So they essentially like funded me to start my own company, which was nice.
amazing.
Yeah, it was good. And then
Was this Odin Media that you
this was
started?
Odin. Well, it was, Odin Media, and then kind of did that. Yeah, and I've been doing that ever since. That was like 13 years ago I started doing that,
Uh,
and here we are.
Now Odin Agency. Holy crap. So yeah, there's so many just like aha crazy stories that you just kind of jumped off this ledge and did this thing. And it's like the true entrepreneur story
Yeah.
that ends up being, I don't want anybody else to control me anymore.
Yeah, the
Telling me to
flexibility
do
is
it.
is like good. Obviously, yeah, you can, especially with this work, because obviously if I was like, like a gardener, you still got to work to daylight hours and stuff, right? So you
Yeah.
can't like fully flexible. Whereas like at the minute, it's like if something comes up and I want to do stuff during the day with the family or whatever it is, I can then go, right, okay, I can stay up late and do all these other things.
Yeah. And yeah, I feel that with my business too. The other side of it is that you literally work in a business that didn't exist 20 years ago. Like what you do 25
Mm.
years ago or
Yeah, it
more.
wasn't a
Like
thing.
what's SEO?
Mm.
What the hell's Google ads? Like we talked about this before. I worked in radio and
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, if you would have told me when I was 19, 20 something year or 21 years old that I would be like selling terrestrial radio is what they call it, where it's broadcasted.
Mm.
Now I was selling ads for that one of my competitors wouldn't be television ads or broadcast ads or cable ads, that it would be Google. What? Or the SEO even existed back then. And here we're
Sure.
both in these industries that what we do for a living is dependent on our knowledge of this. Crazy shit that didn't exist before. And in a way, it's like, who is the guy that created this thing? Has anybody looked at that? We should look this up.
Probably
Like,
should.
yeah, I mean, like, who's the guy? Whose fault is this? But who should we also thank? Because for me, I do not enjoy like at least the SEO side of it. So knowing that you just went from media to agency, does that mean that you're doing more broader things? Because for me, I know you do a lot more than just SEO.
Sure. Yeah, I
Okay.
think it was one of those things where I kind of wanted like control of stuff, to just to make sure that I understand it enough that if I'm growing the agency and employing people and stuff, you get to the point where you like at least like what needs to, like, it's getting done and it's getting done properly and stuff. Um so that's why I started to like learn as much as I could, basically. So I'm just constantly researching stuff, and I probably spend way too many hours on YouTube consuming content, to be honest. But
Well, same, same, and same. I didn't start mine to. I thought I was just going to strategize with people and give them plans and let them do their thing. And turns out they needed help in different areas, and it was social media and graphics and all this other stuff. But then websites were always a forefront part of it. And that's where I learned how to build websites. And then all of a sudden, you have to learn how to keep them operable and optimized and in front of things. And I'm learning Google ads and, really, you really have to know those because you're spending a lot of money on and that's a lot of money sometimes. And the meta ads, and it just keeps going and going and going. And for me, for me, SEO is time consuming and it's like the most unfun part of all the things. It's like folding laundry. I know it's needed. You have to do it. I love wearing clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love the fact that I want my business to be searchable and in front on that first page and, actually ranking in whatever the business category is. But, bro, I don't want to sit there and fold all that laundry and have to iron that shit and do it all in a day. And I think that that's what people think. Like, I don't know. So,
It,
I
it
try to go ahead, go ahead.
I mean, it's one of the hardest things to explain to people
Mhm. I
in
go,
terms of like a service, and
like,
explaining what
in
it
wheelchairs on
is,
your
and then
car.
it's like, you know, oh, this thing's going to take a while. It's not instant, like as soon as you jump into ads and paid ads and stuff, it's like, well, you
That
can
can be
instantly
instant.
see stuff happening, right?
Exactly. You have to pay to play. So you
Yeah.
could pay with time or you can pay or with someone to help you with that time. Because even with time, it takes time and it takes also other actions because you probably have, I don't know, 1,000 or other people and businesses going after the same exact words in that same exact place. For whatever reason, they're not always in your specific community or area. And it might just be for the leads purposes or who knows?
Well, sometimes like companies can just accidentally rank for stuff that they have nothing to do with their
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, and it's like you're like, "Why am I doing, like, Frank's Plumbing when you're an HVAC company?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's, yeah, it's so the way that I explain it to my clients, and this is what happens. "Hey, we need a website, Patricia." "Great." So you build this beautiful WordPress website, and then I'll put in all the back end stuff to make sure, at least when it's set up, that it's SEO optimized with quote fingers because that's an ongoing time-consuming thing. And they don't understand that. They're like, "Oh, great, it's good for a little bit." But at the same time, you're optimizing your Google Business Profile at the same time. You're usually adding a lot of stuff and posts and things to the website, and you're also tagging on social media. So it's like, yeah, this is how to do it the organic way. But that they don't realize there's all these other tags and like links and bullshit thing. And that's the thing that I don't like doing. That's the thing that takes a lot of time. And so, even if you have an AI thing and everybody's like, oh, you could just get an app, but no one's going to go into your actual site and make sure that it's crafted for your specific business unless you pay someone to actually do it or you do it yourself. So for me, I don't like doing that stuff. And out of all the things that I like to do, which most of them have to be more creative, that for me isn't a creative part of it. For you, it probably is.
But yeah, it's not so much creative, it's kind of almost like following a process, right? Um, so when it
Uh,
comes to like when I'm doing
I'm AD.
graphics, like I was doing some print artwork the other day, that's
Yeah.
fun because you're playing around with design and you're kind of tweaking stuff, and so that's more fun.
Hmm.
But like, the SEO stuff is not like crazy complicated, but you have to keep following a process and
Oil changes
um,
aren't crazy complicated, but you still have to do them to keep up your car. If you don't do them
sure.
at some point, it's just not going to fail. And the other way I explain it, or I do explain it to clients, is this: like, all right, so you can have a car and everybody could buy the same exact car. And then you can go in and you can change your engine out and you can do all this other stuff and you can optimize your parts and make sure that you've got like the most badass speedster on the planet and compared to the race. But who do you think is going to get first? Well, that's what that is. So if you're not putting in energy and you're not giving it the fuel, meaning Google, which by the way, every time you change your website, it gives it a freaking concussion almost, I feel like. And
Yeah.
then people don't realize that, like, well, I added words. How come they're not picked up already? So, I wanted to just not just bitch about why people don't understand SEO, but I did want to get that out. Thank you for letting me get that out. I also wanted to have a really educated, but just real talk conversation about it because it's a big part of what we both do. And the thing that I like about our relationship is that I get to kind of work on the front end. I get to kind of feed you, this is what needs to be done, or these are the images, or whatever that is. And then you just make it happen. The reason that I chose to hire someone versus technology, the Jesus out of it, and technology, and just pay like all, because I researched this before this, is because in the past, I'm not always sure that what I thought was getting done was getting done. And in anybody's business, and this is most business owners, I think that when they're small business owners and you're doing a lot, and I'm doing a lot with my ADHD brain, turns out, I just found out, um, I can't, it's a constant, keep up of things. So I have to really pick and choose the things that I can give the most value at and let other people do those things properly. And I need to make sure that the people that are doing those things properly are ones that I trust to do it. And I think that's another reason why, if a business owner, because I run into this with clients more times than not, when I get a new client, is that someone that they've had before me didn't feel that they were 100% done right by that person. That they didn't get all the value that they thought, or perhaps what they were paying for wasn't happening. And I'll be honest with you, you and I have even just recently discovered that might be a situation with another site that we both recently took on. And who knows what this company was paying before that. And that
Yeah.
sucks for them, because it starts your relationship off with mistrust out the gate.
Yeah, because yeah, I guess they're more cagey because bad things have happened, haven't they? So
Well, and as a person that provides a service that someone doesn't see up front, it's a lot of trust.
yeah,
So
for
you're
sure.
constantly having to reprove that the job is getting done. And really, the only way to see it is by results.
Yeah, which unfortunately do take a take a little bit of time. It's not instant, is it? So
It's not. So, yeah. I don't know why it's one of those things that people wait until it's like, shit, I need it. And it might be
yeah,
going to the doctor, like, not people don't want going in checkups on their websites or in their bodies, if they, or whatever, unless they need it. At least
yeah.
here,
I mean, I guess you could come back to the car thing. Like, how often do people get their car serviced? Like, probably
our
not
cars.
enough.
Yeah. But
Um,
ours is,
but that's the
yes.
thing, isn't it? So if you get it serviced regularly, like it's you're maintaining it, it's performing at its best ability, right? If you don't get those checkups and you're not having those things done, like changing oil and things like that, yeah, it's just not going to be performing as well as it could be.
So if you were to explain to somebody, like, just what's SEO?
SEO is essentially helping people that need to find your business actually find your business. That's essentially what it is in terms it like ultimately if someone is searching for what you offer in the same way that you would run a Google ad, I'm looking for a plumber in this location. Like that's what SEO does. It helps you get found for people that are looking for you. And then that feeds into the AI things now, which is like where people are searching or asking AI, who's the best in the area, that sort of thing. And again, if you do SEO correctly, it's basically the same thing. There's a lot of people that are talking, all the buzzwords and coming up with different acronyms, which GEO, AIO, and all this kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
SEM.
Yeah.
You said that when you said, I'm so glad you said SEO AI, because I got so triggered in a meeting a couple weeks ago. I don't know if I ever got a chance to tell you this, but that's what sucks about being on a Zoom call. It's
Mm,
just anybody in there knows what you're feeling, especially when you're on a giant screen.
yeah. Yeah. It's quite hard to hide.
Well, I don't hide
hide
my
how you're
expressions.
feeling.
There's no
Yeah.
Botox not yet anyway in this space. And you know what that is you help me with a site that talks about Botox. But like it's so I had a client recently ask about SEO AI, and
Hmm.
it's a client that I had been, preaching SEO to. Now, in fairness, this is a site that I built and set up. So the exact same process happened. But with the course of time, the conversation is also, okay, you're not ranking, but you've also had ads. So when you're not in pain, it tends to be less obvious then when you are seeing that you are dependent on your budget to keep you afloat, right? And when things change and you're not constantly in there doing those things, well, then the question is why? Because it takes time, it takes technology, so it's software that's you have to pay for that. So I want to talk about that a little bit, but it also takes time and someone like you too. So me sending you the information, these are the words, this is what we need to rank. And then you just go, right? But it's like for them, they're just like, I don't know, showing a constant report, showing that things went from red to green to, whatever. I'm so exhausted. Are you like, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that is one of the hardest things is especially with the client that's struggling to trust, right? Because you spend so much time generating reports to show and prove that you are doing things. But if they didn't ask for those reports and things, you could spend more time actually helping them rank more because you're not having to generate reports to show them stuff.
Yeah, I've
But you
wanted to say
every
that to
time
someone,
you
they just
have
let
a
me look at
meeting,
things.
yeah, literally every time you're having a meeting and a discussion about stuff, it's like, well, that's time that I need to kind of bill for, right? So, yeah, that slows down other things.
Right. And the other part about it, and this is the geeky website stuff, is like whenever you make a change, I mentioned the Google concussion. There is sort of like a Google concussion that happens. And so
Is that
they
like
just
when you switch domain name, right? Is that
or
what you
you
mean?
yes, or and like I would say large changes like that, because that's happened, or change an entire website over to a different website and then flip it back will affect that.
Yeah,
Or just some of the random things I can just kind of come up with. When you're constantly adding more content, you're just letting it know, here I am. Or just put, like, I mean, that's kind of the best way to say it. And when we're trying to articulate something that didn't exist 20 years ago, right? So, someone could probably geek you to death on all the different things and what's a meta tag and why you should have links. And I've tried to explain that, like we should probably have some backlinks to some organizations and things and think that you're actually connected to. When people are searching those things, you come up as you're affiliated with them. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, this is defined. So, that's the list. Having enough of out there for Google to know who the hell you are. And when someone searches, does that actually come up? And are you feeding it enough to actually rank?
yeah. I think someone said the other day, I was reading about it, and they were saying about how Google is like a cat. So you can train a dog to do exactly what you want it to do, whereas a cat you can't. So it's like you can do all the right things, and then one day the cat just goes, "Nah, I'm not interested today."
Google's that way with ads too.
Yeah, literally.
You give them thousands and thousands of fucking dollars. And like, they'll be like, no, we're just going to restrict your account just because. And it's like, why?
Honestly, getting
I don't
hold of
understand.
Google to like make changes and updates and things is the most. It's just so just it's shit. I'm not gonna lie. It's like possibly the worst thing. Like Google like your business profile page, right? And it's just like I want to use this photo, please, as like the main cover image. And it's like, no, we're gonna use this picture a customer uploaded of a toilet. It's like, why? Why? It's like I've given you a much like
I've had it decline my own reviews because it said they weren't real. And I'm like, you don't know what it took me to get those reviews from people. You don't understand like what it took for those people to actually leave me a review, and they sent it to me. So I know that it was there and you took it away. What the fuck? I've had them decline ads and a profile because they didn't like the name of the business. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was the name. I'm like, I assure you it's the name. Here it is again. Here's all the paperwork. Here's it. Like, what do you mean you don't like the name? I've had it decline logos for nothing. Um, Images with text on them. Apparently they don't like that either.
good.
Can't put like the phone number or like any information that someone would want to know. Yeah, they get really, really fickle about things. They hate auto glass companies. I don't know how many they have in your area, but there's just tons and tons and tons of them. So I've had a company that, and I get a lot of clientele because they have issues with Google. So I should be thanking them so much
Thank
because
you
people get
for
so
creating
frustrated, and I feel so bad
such a
for them.
dog shit
Can you
interface.
imagine if you weren't in our business and you weren't just like, oh, let me pick up the phone and call Google for a second. We can do that. Apparently you can't. Like people like, and I think it's because I've annoyed the shit out of them so much. So you will appreciate the story of my cool Google story because I have a few of them. Now I'm like, should I answer the phone? Because if I start taking it, it's like a telemarketer. If you got a multi-level marketing thing that you just can't get out of, once they get you sucked in, you're just appointment after appointment after appointment after appointment, and I can't take it. I have so many. I've got like if I got 12 or 15 campaigns, you know how many people are calling me, and they won't give you all of them for one. It's like So I'm not complaining. Please don't stop calling me. I need your help sometimes, and don't get rid of the phone number thing because it showed up one day. It was like this magical like I found the ring, like on the way that like Mordor or whatever. So anyways, I get the number and I start calling a lot. I think this is like a local service ad issue. And this is back when like they had been out maybe a year or something like that. Are you familiar with local service ads? Yeah, new program, almost the same, but very, very different. Really, it used to be really hard to get on. Now it is not. That's basically the end of that story or whatever. But I used to call them all the time because it was category specific and you had to basically like, stand on a roof and put your foot up and like make sure the wind was in the proper area and like that there wasn't any sort of like solar eclipse happening. And then they would like accept your settings. So I'm kidding, but people get a hold of me to help fix this or, so I help them through hell. And I called enough and I asked one guy, I was like, so you seem so nice, John. I think was his name. It's always very generic. I don't know what it actually is, but it's always John. And I was like, you seem really nice. Can we just get the same? I have so many accounts and like, if it'd be so easy. And like, I'm really sorry, ma'am. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right. Well, it was really nice talking to you. This is that. 2 months later, I call for something and I start talking. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. Do you have the agency in Alabama? And I was like, stop. You recognize me from my voice? He goes, I recognize your voice, ma'am. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Either
That's
I'm
funny.
that annoying or you've got 3 reps for the whole entire world. And I just happen to get you again. But when you can get a hold of them, they're incredibly helpful. And then so I feel like now they are incredibly helpful. That it's just challenging when you don't understand the process to not get in their bad graces, to have restrictions or do some violations. And back to the company with the auto glass, all they did was try to make someone else changed and suggested their address. You're talking about images. I think someone else made a suggestion on their address and Google changed it. So they had to go through this whole verification thing. And I'm like, because you're auto glass and Google hates you. But it's because they're a mobile thing and they probably think they're shady or something. But you need all of them. I need all my parts.
Yeah. Otherwise the car doesn't go anywhere.
Or my inner parts. Except
Right.
one that I just had removed. Apparently I didn't need that one.
No, yeah.
Like the other ones I need. I just I mean it's one of those things like most people go and search Google.
Yeah, exactly. And when they're not searching Google soon, they're just going to be asking AI, and they're doing pretty much the same thing. They're pulling information. So
the AI thing, this person's like, what do you think about AI? And I was like, what do you mean? And I was so confused because I was like, there's so many questions. Like I use it all the time. It's helpful. I ask it questions about things and blah, 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 blah. And you're right, because even my use of AI is different now than it was when I was first like, ugh, I don't want it to get me, It's like my friend that understands that I get bitchy sometimes, but it chills me out and it gets through the questions because it gets really hung up. I'm like, come on, just give me the, you're not asking me what I'm needing, but it might be my own communication style also. But anyways, it helps. And this person is like, what do you think of it? And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, well, with like SEO and your website. And I was like, do you mean SEO period? Because that's what that is. They just put AI in front of it. This was my response. And you can tell me if I'm wrong. Please, if I'm wrong, tell me. Because I don't want to feel stupid, but I want to know My response was that it's going to pull from everything out there. So if you have a good reputation and you have a good Yelp reputation and you have a good Google reputation, or if you have a good House reputation or whatever that's out there that people are searching, Bing, Yahoo, whatever, it's going to pull those things. It's not going to come up with its own opinion. It's going to read your reviews. It's going to go through your website, the things that you say on your social media, the comments that people make. So of course, yes. Thoughts? Was I insane?
Yeah, no, I mean, if you follow good SEO practice, you're going to rank well in the AI as well.
So is there like a magic AI SEO?
Not as far as I'm aware. There's
I've been
no
looking.
specific thing, and it's like when obviously Google was in its early stages and everyone was doing all the black hat stuff and just shoving loads of keywords in and then changing the text color to white so you couldn't see it and hiding
Yeah.
it behind images and things like that. That sort of stuff, obviously, Google's smart enough now to not have to. And AI is still early, so people will probably find ways to sneak through,
Yeah.
but they're not going to last long, right?
Yeah.
If they do find a way to kind of,
And they probably will, because it just gets
I'm sure they will. It's like everything. So with Google, there's probably ways that some people are boosting rankings and stuff now, but Google doesn't. It'll put an update out and it'll bin it off. So the best thing to do is just do everything correctly and how Google wants it. So actually write good content and put it onto a website, and then Google goes, "Oh, these guys are doing good content." It's not hard to just, if you just follow what it wants, then
Well, so I tell people both, because they're like, what do I do if I start a business? And I'm like, well, you do both, because one, SEO takes time to build. And so it's like, even if you put a lot of work and effort into it in the beginning to get your car like really souped up, just do your maintenance oil changes once a month or whatever that is, because as your business changes and you have other opportunities to see things, and by the way, your competitors are going after you, add more work into it. And that's where you come in, because I don't want to sit there and do all that stuff because it's really time consuming. And oh my God. So I really appreciate people like you. Yay. But the other part of it is, yes, and, thank you to all the leadership training and things. You still need to do ads if you need to be there now. If you don't have the time to wait, to rank, to be up in those keywords, then you need to pay to play and put yourself out there. And how much is up to you? The times of days that you do that, the amount that you do per week, the days of the week, hell, you can adjust those things and still be consistent. But people think that it's a one-time deal, that it's going to be over and they never have to deal with it again. And it's like, I wish it was too. And it is one of the things that even on my own site, and I'm like, once we get through all this other website stuff for all this client, I need to have Michael look at my own website, because I do the same thing, because in all the different areas, those things, they lack. And the really profitable businesses probably have somebody in a department that's sitting there and that's what they're doing, and they're focusing effort and time on those things for that one specific company. But when you are running multiple areas of your business or even in your own marketing, to be able to do it is going to be incredibly challenging for you.
yeah,
I promise.
100%. You're limited to how much time of day you have after finishing all your client stuff, right? And then also you've got your mental headspace. So if you've been in everyone else's business trying to then switch and focus on yours, it's like, oh my God.
Oh God, I don't want to do anything. I want to watch something like god awful for me on like Netflix or whatever,
Yeah, sure.
just to recharge. And
Yeah.
that's with anything marketing, but that just sounds so boring. And I went on a boat last week with some friends. It wasn't on a boat, we just sat on the boat. It was a boat we sold to them years ago, so it's just fun to sit. And it was in the water, but we didn't go anywhere. He's like, I don't really listen to the show anymore. And I was like, why? He goes like, oh, because you talked about marketing one time and I'm not interested in that. And I was like, well, first of all, you should, because I barely talk about it ever. And it's not because I don't want to, it's because I've had some really interesting other shit to say, but I've got a really good one coming up, because it's one thing that every person that has a website needs to know about. And it's stuff that I talk about and I beg clients to focus on. And some of them do, and they understand it, and some of them don't because it's the last priority for them because they're either in the ads mode and that's keeping them afloat where they don't realize they could just take some time and shift into maintenance mode, which is really what that is, to keep them up there, and they wouldn't have the long-term pain on it. Meaning your ad budget probably wouldn't be as peaky in certain times because you're already ranking in search.
Yeah. And the other thing as well is having a website that's designed to convert, right? So I had one client come to me and we didn't have to actually change anything from an SEO perspective. We just rebuilt the site and kind of changed it so it was more conversion focused. To the point where like when we took them on, they were like nearly going out of business. And they were like, you literally saved the business because we had no one phoning us.
They're not asking for the business anywhere on the site or asking.
Yeah, so literally it was like I guess just the way the site was set up, laid out, people just weren't reaching out. And then we basically just changed how the site looked, laid out, and literally within the first week, the phone was just off the hook ringing.
Okay, so I'm so glad that you just brought this up because we just had an issue even with like someone in their forms and just stupid little things and how many businesses don't know that like something as simple as a form isn't working, which is frustrating and just something so small. But I had this conversation with a client not too long ago. So when you're not tracking the people that are coming to your site, you're not doing anything with them. You know, they come there, they look maybe 3 seconds, and then if they don't find what they need, I'm eating my mic, they back out. Right, and then they're just like, "All right, I'm donesies, I'm gonna go look for somebody else," or I get distracted with my kids or whatever it is that I'm doing during that day. They might come back and make a decision, like, I'm somebody that if I'm gonna buy something, I'm gonna probably come back to the site, put something in my cart, come back a couple times. But if it's something like buying a service, which is what I do a lot of service-based businesses, so you have to if you hit connect with me, you are asking for someone's time. So that's a commitment out the gate, even if it's a free consultation. But even if they don't and say they click, if they're going to click on something, if you're not going to give them something of value, can you still at least track who that person was or at least get the opportunity? And I'm talking about tags, by the way, just for your, your ads and all these other things, so that when you're paying for these ads, you're going back to the same people.
Yeah, just
And a lot of people don't.
retargeting someone who's already.
Exactly. You need to be able to retarget, and that will also help with your search and everything else. And at least the ad dollars that you're spending are going to someplace good.
Yeah.
They're like, what? She's so smart. I'm like, yeah, it's something we've been doing for years and years and years. But people don't think about it in that regard. I'm like, you're basically invited somebody in your living room. You don't know who the hell they were. They didn't fill out a sign out sheet or whatever, and they didn't just left. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. I guess it's one of those things as well when you kind of remarket someone subconsciously, they're like, I've seen this before.
They must be
I want to check it out. Yeah. So
yeah,
exactly. So when they see it again, and it's just like even if it was like just they spent a couple of seconds, they saw your logo. Things happen, right? Kids or something. It's like, oh, I'll come back to that later, and then they close the tab or whatever, the tab disappears. And they're like, oh, what's the name of that company? That's happened to me before, where I've gone to a website, something's come up, I've then gone back to it, and I was like, oh no, I closed the window and I didn't save the tab. Obviously, you could go in your search history and find it, but who does that?
My husband will look up things online, and then all of a sudden I will start getting ads for them, and he'll bring it up to me, and he'll talk about it, and I'll be like, well, now I know I'm getting this ad for whatever, you know what I mean? It has nothing to do with anything I would search.
Sure.
But all of a sudden it starts to come up because they know from their IP, like this household would like to see this stuff. They're obviously already going to the site. So be careful what you go search on your website. You're saying your spouse might be starting getting ads for them things. Naughty stuff, whatever.
Well, the thing is as well, because like obviously when you're like linked on social media as partner of, or married to, then Facebook obviously connects the two. It's not stupid, right? So
I have
if your wife's looking at one thing and then you start seeing ads for that thing, it's like Facebook knows your wife's looking at this stuff. She wants to buy something.
Or your
and it's like, oh, look, you could
profiles.
go and buy this thing. Your wife was talking about it. Don't you remember?
Business profiles.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had in the past where I've taken over like social media profiles and their business profiles get some weird ads to it. And I'm like,
Hmm.
I wonder what's going on. Don't look at it with your business profile. That's all I'm saying. Um, but yeah, like, yeah, that also happens too. So yeah, I guess, what does somebody do? Like, I just opened a business and I had somebody build me the site because most people that I interact with either had someone already build them a site or they need one, right? So, like, what can they do? Tell me.
In terms of
Yeah, like if they were like listening right now and they're like, okay, hope that this guy's gonna give us some good stuff. Like, what are the first three things? And I could say it all day long that I think, but you know, I got a profile and I got my website and I'm like, what is SEO? How do I get started? Like, are there some
sure.
basic things people can do?
Yeah, I mean there are basic things you can do. So I think kind of I guess setting the foundation, that's like the key thing. So when you've kind of built the website, having like your key service pages, what you do, what you provide, that sort of thing. But then on those pages, the key things you want to do is make sure that you've got uh the page, so the title tags, and then a meta description for the page. You can use tools, if you like on a WordPress site, you can use Yoast or Rank Math, and they'll basically tell you whether they think it's good. So you can basically put in what keyword you want to rank for, um,
It's
and
actually, yeah,
then
very user friendly, all those
it is
guys.
user friendly. Yeah, so
So,
it kind of points you in the right direction of stuff. And then also what you want to do is, oh, my cat's joined me.
what's
um,
her name?
she's called Luna.
Luna. Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, so um, and then I guess the content on the page, another thing that is really helpful is internal linking. So when you're kind of writing a blog post or anything, um, having keywords that you like services that you provide. So say you're on one page and you're then talking about another service you provide on that page, having just the text linking
Linked
out to
to
that
that
page.
other page. And to
Correct,
back
yeah.
up, the title tag, it's like when you're searching on Google and you ever search like a subject. So it was like, plumber near me or
Hmm.
plumber, best plumbing company in Northern Indiana. I'm just throwing a random tag out there. That highlighted thing, at least on Google, and there's all different search engines, but usually is the title tag of that's going to come up with the website, right? And then the meta tag or the meta title is usually the content that's underneath. There's always this like little paragraph of text when you search something, and it takes you to a certain page because someone's probably listening, going, "What the fuck is a meta tag or a meta title and all this other stuff?" So I was like, just thinking. We might need to explain that a little bit too, because a lot of people don't know, which is why I literally don't like doing all this stuff.
Yeah, so the sort of page title, obviously you want to include the keyword that you want to rank for in it. That's quite
Mhm.
important.
Yeah.
But you also want to make it as user friendly as possible because at the end of the day, you could try to make things make sense from a machine ranking point of view
Mhm.
in terms of like, making the keywords. But at the end of the day, the goal is have someone click this, click through to your page. So if it's just like a mass of keywords and stuff and it doesn't really read very well, like I'm not going to click it because it doesn't speak to me.
Right.
So when they're searching for something, you want that to go, essentially, this is exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah. So
And
what's your
make it as
thoughts on AI
painstakingly
usage
obvious.
for this stuff, though,
Hmm.
for some of these titles and things? What's your thoughts on that?
What's that? Sorry.
There's a lot of these tools, whether
Hmm.
it's Yoast, Rank Math, all these other ones, they have the ability to help automatedly or you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Automatically come up with these things through AI. And what are your thoughts on that? Does Google know?
Um,
Does the search know? Do
I
people know?
I think it's one of those things where if you're not going to get someone to do it for you, it really helps. Because at the end of the day, it's been designed by, you know, someone that's helping you to rank in Google. Like the end goal is they want you to rank because that's why they're creating the software, right? So,
Yeah, I just think the
um,
inserting part is the part that's like the frustrating part and
yeah,
the time consuming part. And
Yeah.
it's the part where it's like, oh, you were if it's red, yellow, green,
Hmm.
you're yellow, and now you're red because you changed something else by changing this. And then
Hmm.
you're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
That's every website. Like, that's my
Hmm.
hell. Like, that's why I'm like, I can't do this. I gotta find somebody. And I know that if I'm doing it and I'm like, I'm gonna figure this out no matter what, and I will, I just don't want to. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. At the end of the day, it's the same thing with like building a website, right? There are tools you can build it yourself, but is it going to be? It's always if you've got the money and you don't have the time, it just makes sense to get someone that does it all day every day because they're going to do it better than you. Ultimately, I could change the brakes on my car. Am I going to? No, because I don't have, the automated lift to get my car up. So I'm going to have
I
to
used to
sit
say
there and
that.
manually do the thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
Yes, I do. I have
it's
a
going to
friend that
take
literally just
me.
tried to change his own brakes, and this happened, and he went a 2-hour job. Apparently, it was like 2 days, and he's in hell.
And this is the
Um,
thing. So it's like, yeah, okay, I could buy in the brakes and I could do it myself and it will be
mhm.
cheaper. But the amount of time I spend, because obviously I'm self-employed, so it's like, well, if I spend a day doing what a mechanic will take 2 hours doing because he does it all the time and he's just got better
Well, you're
gear than
losing
I have,
money.
you're
Boom.
losing money because I've taken a
Yeah.
day off where I could have been earning money doing stuff I'm actually good at.
Yeah, it's a painful necessity thing or
Yeah,
whatever. It's
but
just
ultimately, if you couldn't afford the mechanic to fix your brakes, then you would buy in brakes and do it yourself because you have to because you haven't got the choice to do it. So yeah, I would say obviously, hiring someone that does it all the time is you're going to get results better and they're probably going to be better results than what you could do yourself. But if you don't have the money to pay someone, using AI tools and other tools and things that are available, why wouldn't you? Because it's taking you from not really knowing what you're doing to being guided by something to
yeah.
help you.
Well, and the baseline of it is they still are going to have to either do it or pay someone to do it. Because you can AI it all day long, you still have to implement and take that text and put them into your actual website. Like that, the dream is if they can get to the point, and this isn't for you, it's just because like it's so much, but then everything would be AI, which takes out the human part of it. And even when I read things, I'm like, oh, it looks kind of generic. And
Yeah.
AI isn't perfect either. It gets dates wrong. Just the other day I read something, I'm like, it's not 2025, it's 2026. Like, damn, even I didn't make that mistake this year yet. I'm like, I'm better, like I know more. Again, really nice the robots. I thank them for everything. Please don't come to get me if something bad happens. But I just think that like it's not that it has to be done, but like we talked before, I've looked this up. And you still, even with it, and we pay a premium for the clients to have also tools on their websites, and they're different ones because you're trying out different stuff. You still have to take that information and put it actually on the website. Like that's a thing, and that's what people don't get. And they're like, "Why can't you just do it?" I'm like, "I don't have an extra 5 hours in my day to sit and work this out, unless you want to pay me for the extra 5 hours of my day." But or I could hire someone and I can take them too for one, because that's what they do. It's not what I do all the time. Just saying. So I'm somebody that understands so much enough to be dangerous, and in some areas I'm really really good at it. But the other thing I'm getting really really good at is taking the things that I know I'm really good at and focusing on that part of the business and allowing myself the freedom to not have to deal with those other things because I can't get those other things done, and that's why people are hiring me. They didn't call me because like, "Man, she's so good at SEO." I was like, "No, that's just something that happened. Like you fell over and started bleeding and now you need a Band-Aid. I'm helping you find that Band-Aid, but it's a long-term Band-Aid." So anyways, we're not here to sell you SEO. I mean, kind of if you're not doing it on your business, I guess. Michael is. I don't care. But I do, and this is a really great episode for me to refer back for people to listen to and talk about so that I don't turn blue in the face. 'Cause I talk about it all the time, multiple times, and, like, one of my biggest pet peeves is repeating myself, ironically. So, if you were to give yourself, like, I don't know, what's to you, because we're talking about SEO and all this stuff and the marketing, what's the biggest myth do you think is out there when it comes to marketing? And it doesn't even have to be SEO related. I'm just curious what you think.
Really no. In terms of myth, yeah, I mean, I can't really think of what in terms of like myths of like. I think one of the biggest things that you need to kind of maybe watch out for is the, you know, the shiny object, right? The new thing, the AI search, and the people that are kind of professing that they're experts in it when it's not even it's still in its infancy, right? So just be careful of new things.
Okay.
I would say, obviously it's good to be educated on these things and know that they're coming, and know that stuff's happening. But yeah, I would say
Okay. I was going to say similar things, that AI is going to take over everything and just do everything
sure.
for everybody.
I think it's a long way off.
Yeah, I think so too, but I also think that what you were saying too, and the other thing is that, it's overnight. That anything you do is overnight. So I think that a lot of businesses think, oh, I did this thing and I hired them to do this thing, so why isn't it fixed yet? And I will set any business up with really long expectations and hopefully pleasantly surprise them when it's a lot quicker turnaround or they see faster results. And to your thing is, if someone can promise you or say, I 100% this, or this for sure is going to happen, or you're going to get these results, you're going to get these many leads, it's probably bullshit.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things that kind of gets thrown around a lot, isn't it? It's like, oh, we achieved these big numbers, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and maybe you should tout more about
If
what you do, but the people that
it's
brag about
I
it,
guess
yeah.
it's like the old sayings, isn't it? It's like, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
There
Like,
you go. That's a really good one. Cool,
mhm.
man. So, how does someone get a hold of you if they're like, this guy sounds really interesting and I like his accent and he really knows about marketing and SEO and
Sure.
he's in the UK? How would I get a hold of you?
So obviously through the website is one way, or
Which is,
which is
there
odinagency.co.uk.
we go.
Um, and yeah, I think yeah, that's probably one place to get me. You can get me on obviously Facebook and stuff. I don't tend to use the business profile page.
No, I met you on Facebook as Michael Little.
Yeah.
That's
So
how we
my
connected.
my profile is like publicly facing, so you can just kind of find me through there, and
Very
if you
cool.
want to go down that way. But yeah.
Well, I'm super happy that we connected and that we have such a great professional relationship and that you help me with all the frustrating things
Hmm.
that I don't like to do, because now every time my blood pressure goes up and a client asks me for something obscure or weird on a website, I go, "Ah, I can send it to Michael," and then I send it to you. And that's kind of fun now
Mm.
too. But no, you're just a really easy person to talk to, and I appreciate you helping explain some of this stuff to everybody listening today. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you.